Aloha, y'all. It is the first of the month, May 1st, Rabbit. It is Sunday, ruled by the sun. The sun is at 11 degrees Taurus. The moon is at 18 degrees Taurus. Mercury is at 1 degree, 21 minutes Gemini. Venus is at 28 degrees Pisces. Mars is at 12 degrees Pisces. Jupiter is conjunct exactly Venus, also at 28 degrees Pisces. Saturn's at 24 degrees Aquarius. Uranus is at 14 degrees Taurus. Neptune's at 24 degrees Pisces. Pluto is at 28 degrees Capricorn in retrograde, and the North Node is also retrograding at 22 degrees Taurus. It is a Sahasrara chakra day, crown chakra. This corresponds to your pineal gland, but you could think of it as a little halo at the top of your head. And the keywords are beauty, creativity, and inspiration. Positive aspects are a reverence for all life, self-sacrificing in the service of others, idealism, and ability to see the appropriate route for the benefit of the higher self. Negative aspects are no concern for others, feelings of superiority, lack of contact with reality. The mantra is Om, which you could see many little Om symbols here. Om in the key of B. Spiritual activities are prayer, meditation, reflection. Essential oils are violet, lavender, and lotus. Plant is lotus flower. Metal is platinum. Element is the cosmos. The musical note is B. Crystals are amethyst and alexandrite. And the soul lesson is to be at one. Be at one. Atonement at one-ment with the source. So on this Sunday, the very first day of a new month, even though this Gregorian stuff still has an effect on our psyches, no doubt. Yeah, let's go ahead and see what the cards have in store. Hopefully you guys had a good new moon solar eclipse. I had an interesting mushroom trip, ironically. Some mushrooms on the bottom of the deck here. Four of wands rather. So let's cut it in case it wants to come back up, and then shuffle away. I got less than a week here in Costa Rica left, and then I'm back in the States. Got some readings today, so do holler if you want a reading. People love them, and I like giving them. We got the Queen of Wands. Beautiful energy, and look, it's you can almost imagine there's the sun, and there's a full, well, this would be a full moon, but a new moon solar eclipse from yesterday. We're still feeling that. We're gonna feel that energy for a few days, no doubt. So, wands are fire. If you don't know, wands are the fire of spirit, the fire of heart, right? And if you're an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, you are a wand. And the queen is the watery part, the intuitive, sexual, creative, receptive, ultimately. The yin energy of the fire, action, and creativity in a burst of outward manifestation, kind of heart. Queen of Wands, the watery part of fire, stepping into the creative power. Be resolute. Dare to break conventional boundaries. Be generous with your power and trust yourself. The Queen of Wands on page 72, I might add. Queen of Wands, I gracefully take center stage. And notice how it's the center stage of the Sahasrara chakra. That's us at the middle, and that's all of our thoughts and actions all around us and all the people around us. So, Queen of Wands, I gracefully take center stage on page 72. Queen of Wands is a force to be reckoned with. Bold, daring, courageous, and extremely vivacious. Highly versatile and talented, she is passionate about the whole world she lives in and the domain she rules. She sees the needs of her people are of paramount importance and does her very best to envisage powerful solutions, thereby highlighting and pursuing many just causes. I created this card thinking about the powerful feminine visionary, a beautiful balance of head and heart. Flanked by a court of transfigured Minoan mother goddesses, she symbolizes the power of the feminine principle to give life, reminding us to speak with the fire of passion and the integrity of the heart. The radical anthropologist Chris Knight puts forward a powerful argument that women were key to human mastery of complex language. With Mercury and Gemini right now, maybe this is an interesting thought to think. The origins of language. That it was the deep connection of women regularly coming together at the time of their cycles and their development of complicated systems of herbal medicine, used, for example, in childbirth, which catalyze the complexity of interpersonal communication. The power of words to create our reality emerging from our female ancestors. A fiery and spirited mother, she encourages her children to be bold individuals, ambitious and discerning, to speak up and act on their feelings. The Queen of Wands wears a Union Jack petticoat beneath her skirt, a playful reference to the Earthling artwork I created for David Bowie, in which he wears an Alexander McQueen Union Jack coat. And that's David DeAngelis. He's been on the podcast a few times saying, I created this artwork, not me. The emblem of Britain, it's prolifically and provocatively used across music and fashion movements of the last 50 years. Similarly, she is the visionary designer, the unapologetic experimenter, Saturn in Aquarius. Eclectic, charismatic, and supremely confident about freeing people from their normal perceptions, routines, and habits. Flanked by 2 black panthers, fierce guardians, and the symbol of the mother, the dark moon, and the power of the night, these totem animals encourage us to understand the power within shadows, to pierce the veil of darkness, face the unknown, and discover the field of pure potential. She welcomes you to expand your awareness, affirm yourself, and be resolute, taking the time to consciously nourish your self-confidence and self-esteem. With the North Node in Taurus, Sun in Taurus, Moon in Taurus, it's about just putting one foot in front of the other in a healthy way, in a valuable way, grounded way. She welcomes you to expand your awareness, affirm yourself, I said this, and be resolute, taking the time to consciously nourish your self-confidence and self-esteem. It is time to remind yourself of all those past successes and triumphs. Harness that get-up-and-go attitude and audaciously take the center stage in your own life. The Queen of Wands, stepping into the creative power, and with Jupiter conjunct Venus and Neptune in Pisces, Mars in Pisces, we could be very creative right now. Stepping into the creative power, being resolute, daring to break conventional boundaries, and being generous with your power and trusting yourself. We need to trust ourselves, right? That's the most beautiful thing we can do in the dream, is know that we're in a web work of reality and that all our actions matter and have consequences. But we're all reflecting each other, just like Arcade Fire would say, just a reflector, right? We're just reflectors of each other. And ultimately, I'm like, is that smoke or a cloud coming from the volcano? I can't tell. I think it's inactive right now, so I imagine it's a cloud. But with the Sahasrara Chakra Day on this Rabbit, the 1st of May, we need to be tapping into the power of our hearts, the power of our creativity, and grounding it. North Node, Sun, Moon, Taurus. Let's go ahead and get a clarification card. We've got death. So, with the South Node in Scorpio, we're releasing quite a bit of trauma, attachments, false perceptions, codependence, addictions, and we need to be stepping into the power of the present moment in our full embodiment. Sun in Taurus, Moon in Taurus. Look how, I mean, yes, she's a fire sign, but look how like sturdy and fixed she looks, right? She's here to stay, right? Ultimately, maybe not with death, right? Death comes to us all, and then we do this little cycle thing all over again. But Death card is a major arcana card. It relates to the Scorpio. That's why I said Scorpio South Node kind of resonance. And it briefly is as follows. I know that this too shall pass. Ending of a major phase is to be trusted. I'm about to leave Costa Rica after 2 months. I'm about to enter a new phase personally. I need to be confident and believe in my creativity and my individuality and know that the river flows and I too, as well as you, flow with it. We're a drop of the ocean and we are the ocean kind of thing, right? Ending of a major phase is to be trusted. Surrender. Awaken to life and new growth. North Node in Taurus, new growth, springtime here, the Northern Hemisphere. Strip yourself bare, shuffle off your current identity, and rebirth yourself. So, at the bottom of it all is, what's up, David? At the bottom of the situation is our heart, right? Our confidence in our heart, our passion. But we need to know that there's phases to our reality, and whether it's phases of relationships or career or where you live or whatever, you yourself are the eternal kind of Om, right? You know, you go through many kind of fractals of reality, but you're the hub of the wheel, and you need to stand there confidently in your heart, ultimately, hopefully, and realize that everything passes away. You rise and you fall, like the sun rises, peaks, sets, comes around, does the same thing over and over again. And that's just kind of the name of the game. So let's try to tap into the power of transformation right now. With Uranus conjunct the sun and the moon in Taurus, we have the ability, and Pluto now in retrograde, we have the ability to transform our reality physically diet, health, exercise, money, long-term, middle-term, short-term goals, but we have to be coming from our heart. If we're not coming from our heart, it's kind of, as Ecclesiastes would say, vanity, vanity, all's vanity, meaningless, right? And it is in some way meaningless anyway, but there's better and worse ways to dream, so let's try to dream well. We've got the beaver. Work. This is very Taurus, sun, and moon energy, right? Putting in the effort as a self, Queen of Wands, from your heart to transform. Death, right? You cut down the trees, you build the log cabin kind of thing. You do that what? To keep yourself safe, happy, warm, protected, housed. But that takes effort. North Node in Taurus, it doesn't just happen in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. So whether it's a few weeks, days, months, years, your entire life is the great work. So don't just go for immediate results. Go for steady kind of, this wouldn't be the same image if it was just a couple random Om symbols. The power of this image comes from the steadiness and the prolificness of the work of that symbology. So let's ourselves too be like that. Excuse me. Try throat. Beaver, work. To love your work is a gift, right? So try to find something you love to do, and even if you're finding yourself in a shitty menial job, try to bring value to that. North Node in Taurus, Sun and Moon in Taurus, right? You want to love and be confident in what you do, but even your career will have phases. Many people have many jobs in this day and age, so transformation is afoot, but ultimately to find joy and participation in the present moment of the work that you're engaging in and loving it is a gift. Find a balance between work and rest. It is worth aligning your work with your purpose if you can. And holler for readings if you want. I can give you an astrology reading or a tarot card reading and kind of help you orient thyself to that effect. Being positively, mindfully engaged in your work, no matter what it might be, so even if you're a 7-Eleven gas attendant or whatever, is healthy. So you want to be present in the moment and not thinking, oh my gosh, one day I'll be fine. It's like, be where you are. She's very present physically, Queen of Wands. And even though this too shall pass, right? And we're just every moment is just a blink of an eye, basically adding up to a whole lifetime. You want to be mindfully and positively engaged in the work you do, whether it's altruistic work, personal health and personal finance, group work, partnership work, whatever. Someone may be attempting to micromanage you at your job, and this is not an optimum way to work. The shadow of Taurus, Sun, and Moon is it's not petty, necessarily, but it's kind of like stubborn. See how she's got her hands on her hips and she's like, yo, it's my way or the highway, and that's it. And it's like, oh my God, if I cross this person, I'll die, right? So the shadow of the Taurus, Sun, and Moon is that they take, everything so materialistically and practically seriously that they don't have a whole lot of play. But with Mercury and Gemini now, we can be playing with our minds and imagining a lot. You can be at work and daydreaming, which is very likely no matter what your job is at this point, especially with the Jupiter-Venus conjunction in Neptune. In Pisces, and Neptune's in there too. Someone may be attempting to micromanage your job, and this is not an optimal way to work. Perhaps it is time to be your own boss. Notice how she looks like her own boss, Queen of Wands. She's confident in her heart, and she's doing it for what? Transformative power. It's not just about, alchemy and transformation. It's about power. Scorpio, death card. The power of transformation. So she's like, you know what? No matter what the season is, I'm going to do the work. I'm here to make it work. Mythos. The Ojibwe First Nations people tell a story about the beaver. A beaver was speaking with other animals and was telling them how happy he was about his tail. Look, bird, how fluffy my tail is. It's so fluffy, is it not? Asked the beaver. The bird looked at the beaver's very fluffy tail and said, sure, it's very nice, but seemed dismissive to the beaver. The beaver then went to the muskrat. Do you like my tail, muskrat? Is it not beautiful and thick with fur? Muskrat said, yes, but is it a strong tail? Because this is Sun, Moon, North Node, and Taurus. It's about practicality. Is it a strong tail? The beaver was puzzled. I asked you if you thought my tail was beautiful, not strong. The muskrat just shook his head and walked away, saying, who cares if your tail's beautiful or not? The beaver was upset with the animals he had spoken to and went back to cutting trees for his dam. As he was thinking about how rude the other animals had been to him, he misplaced a cut and the tree fell on his tail, right? And I guess you could also say a shadow of the Queen of Wands is this kind of vanity, where it's like, I'm such a pretty flower, I'm such a blooming bloomin' onion is almost what I said. Outback Steakhouse stuff. By the way, Outback Steakhouse was founded in Florida by people who'd never been there, and they just capitalized on the whole Crocodile Dundee fad. Anyway, this kind of vanity of the Queen of Wands, the shadow of that is this kind of beaver story, right? So he's sitting there working, and he's being very absent-minded. Mercury and Gemini distracted, Venus, Neptune conjunct, Jupiter, Pisces. So he misplaces a cut, and the tree falls on his tail. Pluto and Capricorn retrograde. Oh my God, my world is falling apart. The beaver wiggled his tail out from under the tree and saw that the weight of the tree had flattened his tail and removed the fur. It was black and leathery now. The beaver sat on the sandy shore and cried heartily. He cried so loudly that the Creator himself came to comfort him. The beaver said to the Creator, "Oh Creator, look what has happened to my tail. It is flat and ugly now." And the Creator said, "No, it is not ugly, and now it's more useful." Taurus, Sun and Moon. Now you will be able to swim so much more strongly, right? You'll have an engineering advantage in your structure, Saturn and Aquarius. And Beaver considered this and realized that this was true, but thought that his friends would not care for him anymore. And the Creator smiled and said, "No, Beaver, your tail is not why your friends love you. They love you for your hard work and industry and for your kindness and goodness. Your tail has nothing to do with it." So we can get caught up in the pettiness of our reality sometimes and find our value in things that aren't valuable. North Node in Taurus is saying, find your true value, right? This isn't, beauty comes and goes, right? Health comes and goes. Skills come and go, typically, right? Someone who's an athlete in their youth isn't going to be an athlete when they're 60, probably, the same way. So we need to be proud and confident in who we are, but also humble and knowing that the transformations and death and of this self is what's going to happen. And that's the great dream, the Sahasrara. One in the many and the many in the one. You have many phases, many iterations. These are days in a life or phases of your life or whatever. And with that, the beaver was satisfied. Beavers feature in many mythos of the First Nations, the Americas and Canada, the Inuit, and the ancient Norse on page 108. So we had page 72 with the Queen of Wands, page 108 with the beaver here. These are holy numbers if you don't know. The animal. The beaver is an incredible transformational force upon the landscape. Oh, no way. You mean Death Card Clarifier? Transforms the world? They can divert rivers and waterways and construct dams that create flooded areas, pools and ponds that enable fish to breed and certain plants to flourish. Besides humans, they are most probably the most powerful architects of landscape on Earth. To do all this changing of the landscape, Pluto and retrograde Capricorn, Saturn and Aquarius, beavers need to be industrious and work hard, North Node and Taurus. They seem always to be active and busy, literally cutting down trees with their powerfully sharp teeth, which continually grow, and their front teeth continually grow, and using their hands to move heavy objects in mud, Taurus, Sun and Moon. They do this to dam areas so they can build their lodges, and I even talked about building a log cabin earlier, so they build lodges like that, working through the night and day. The interior of their lodges do not freeze hard in winter because of the nature of their construction, with air pockets above the pile of branches and sticks and the insulating effect of snow. Beavers share their lodges as monogamous pairs with their kits. They are territorial and would defend their territories. They are strongly built and weigh an average of 25 kilograms, and are the second largest rodent on Earth after the capybara. Their tails in particular are a great asset, the rounded, flat shape being able to propel them very quickly in the water, but also giving them good balance on land. Beavers are very agile underwater and able to stay up there underwater for 15 minutes if threatened, although they usually spend only a few minutes at a time as there is always work to do. The magic, which is why we're here. When you find it hard to motivate yourself, right? When you're just not feeling this fire in your belly, we have the opportunity to get into a confident selfhood, but we might feel weighed down by the past or failures or misperceptions or fears. South Node in Scorpio, Death Card and Clarifier. And when you're just not feeling it, like when you're not realizing the beauty of the dream, and you just don't want to get out of bed, really. So when you're not able to motivate yourself, or when things are not working out with your career or work situation, Beaver energy can help. When you need help finishing a physical project or attracting good craftspeople, call upon Beaver magic to assist. Symbology is lodge, paddle-like tail, and beaver teeth, and status is of least concern as they're a rodent. I imagine they're plentiful, regardless of where they are. But yeah, personally, I mean, I'm about to move back to the States. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm looking into school, maybe in Europe, maybe in the States, maybe no school, maybe I just work. But being a self is going to be the constant thing. The transformations of the self and the circumstances, you know, the amount of Om symbols in the Sahasrara symbol, that's the constant flux of the dream. But that never give up. Every moment of consciousness is working towards the great work, which is the alchemical thing we're a part of, which is ultimately blossoming like a flower, right? We're here to bloom. That means sometimes, there's winter and seeds fall and new plants and new growth and death and transformation. So don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of release. South Node and Scorpio, there's things we're going to have to release. Perceptions, hopes, dreams, fears. Not all dreams come true. Not every fear is ungrounded, right? But we want to be coming from a place of the heart, ultimately, and creativity and power in that self-awareness, regardless of the circumstances of change, through our embodiment, which is Taurus, North Node, Sun, and Moon. And that, your health, basically your spiritual, physical health, your social health, your economic vitality, all these things are your work. You are your great work. You are, in the Bible it says you're the clay and God's the potter, but we're in the image of God, so we're also self-molding a little, right? So we have the ability to go around the wheel and get spun like the clay, and really, sometimes the clay has bubbles in it and it cracks, right? And shit happens, but you never stop. The wheel doesn't stop. Time doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. So be present. Be fully present and confident in your ability to apprehend as consciousness and to participate as a material being in a dream or whatever's going on. North Node and Taurus, make it work. Beaver card, work, work, work. Whistle while you work. Mercury and Gemini is about having fun while you work. So try to make the time pass, If you're a taxi cab driver, an Uber driver or something, be like, all right, I'm going to see how many red signs I see today. Make it fun for yourself. 59. I'm pretty sure my fiance has this, but I could be wrong. I'm always getting things wrong. Gemini, Sun, and Moon life. 59 is as follows. Disillusion, as in like the dissolving and the mirage, right? Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces, Mars in Pisces, where we're like, whoa, what is stable? Who am I? Who am I? 24601, right? We're trying to figure out who we are, but it's a whitewater rafting trip we're on in this life, and we can't stop. We can't stop. All right, I figured. So disillusion. Disillusion here does not mean destruction. Okay, so I misspoke early, but rather a diminishing of alienating and egotistic feelings and motives. Right, so maybe we're getting rid of the shadow of this, which is like cocky self-absorption. We're being our full selves for the great work, and that is a form of soul transformation, right? When you stop being a narcissist and being like, oh my God, my feet hurt from work. Instead, you're like, oh my gosh, today I really brought value to the world. This sign promises a phase of having favorable effects upon relationships. Unity is strengthened. Unity, which is the underlying nature of all things, Sahasrara chakra. Unity is strengthened as burdensome feelings and experiences are now worked through. Work card, the Beaver, as well as the Death card, clarifier. And your energy is free for positive and constructive purposes. She looks pretty positive and constructive. Work, constructive like a beaver dam. But everyone who is involved must make a contribution. Saturn and Aquarius, we're all in this together. Pull your weight. Disappointment suffered may be forgotten, right? So the pains of the past, South Node and Scorpio, we can let that go and focus on the work ahead, North Node and Taurus. Disappointments suffered may be forgotten at last, and a new start can be made. I claim that for myself. I hope you claim it for yourself. It is important to approach people in order to overcome inner isolation or permanent disagreement. It doesn't help at all to continue raising acknowledged mistakes. You don't want to dwell on the past, right? If all she's doing is saying, man, I got an F on my report card in math in 4th grade or whatever, it's like, you're a woman now. And maybe that happened, but you can't be dwelling on the past. You have to release that. You have work to do now. And if you're not good at math, you can work on it later. And it's part of the song, part of your trip was to not be good at math at one point, but that does not mean it's a permanent hindrance. Weird analogy, I know. Doesn't help to continue raising acknowledged mistakes. Don't dwell on the past, South Node Scorpio. Move forward with the new seeds, the new shoots in life, North Node and Taurus. You ought to show goodwill now. This provides you with a genuine chance to break from the past and make a successful new start, right? So, stand in your confidence, right? Queen of Wands. Be present. Ultimately, releasing the trauma from your past, South Node and Scorpio with the North Node and Taurus, conjunct the Sun, I don't know if it's exactly conjunct, but the North Node is in Taurus, Sun and Moon in Taurus, Uranus is in Taurus. We can transform our realities, but it's going to take some effort. It's not just going to happen because you blink your eyes. The shadow of Jupiter and Venus and Neptune, and Neptune and Pisces, is that you think, oh my gosh, if I just kind of wake up, all the birds will feed me, and the sunlight will give me a tan, and I'll be ready to be a model. It's like, holy shit, maybe you have this model inside of you, or this runway model or whatever, but you're going to have to do some work and cut, maybe diet and exercise and put in some effort, network, get on the internet, whatever. Disillusion is letting go of in this case, in this card, the disillusion is transforming the fear and destruction and failure of the past, not letting it affect your present, and therefore transforming your future, right? Because the present's all we really have. The future's a maybe. I mean, it depends on your presuppositions, obviously, but the future's a thing in flux, and the past can't be changed. But if you change your present, you apprehend your past differently, and you apprehend your future differently, and therefore you create new timelines, as they say. So, Nanda, this is a general reading. Just know that your relationship is all good, in a sense, because we're all one. So whatever you're learning is all good. But we're being told to stand in our power, power of heart, right? There's going to be work to do. Don't run away from it. Don't let the past failures and mistakes, or errors, if you want to put it that way, because they're not even really errors. Don't let the detours of life cause you to not keep plodding forward. If Lewis and Clark stopped on their journey just because it rained one day, or somebody got dysentery, or got shot by an Indian arrow or whatever, or eaten by a bear, they wouldn't have gotten to the West Coast. So we need to just get confident, in a non-egoic way, but in a very kind of loving way, a confident, beautiful way, Taurus, Sun, and Moon, and do the work. Let go of the past. And we can all quantumly entangle with this. Thus is the nature of reality. You don't have to own Libyan gold tektite, but we can. And if you do, props, but we can quantumly entangle with this. What it is, a 28 million year old Saharan desert glass, only found in, you guessed it, the Sahara Desert. This gem is yellow, but far from mellow. Very Queen of Wands energy, far from mellow. Who needs it? The navel-gazing and brooding, which can be the shadow of Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, Mars in Pisces, where you're kind of just daydreaming like, oh, I want this thing. You're gazing at your navel. This almost looks like a belly button. You're gazing at your navel, and you're just kind of waiting for things to happen. It's like you have to do the work, too. You have to bring the heart. You got to bring the fire. You got to let go of the past. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. Where to put it? Hold Libyan Guild Tektite, or this card, at your will center, just above your solar plexus, right, or at your navel, and set some goals. North Node and Taurus. Set some goals. Don't just daydream. Seriously, make a list. Write it down. Then call on the fiery but ancient energy of this stone to help you break through the burning desire to binge watch the day away. And I have been watching a lot of TV shows. I should probably be doing something else. When to use it? When your get up and go has ghosted you. It says banish your blahs, right? So instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, the past is just smoke. There's a beautiful song, actually. It's kind of nihilistic by Ben Folds 5 called Smoke. It's like, oh my gosh, everything you do is just smoke. All your past is smoke. Can't you smell the smoke? The ashes, everything doesn't matter. That kind of perspective, we got to let go of that. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. We need to be focused on the present and basically stepping powerfully into the moment, but hands on our hips going forward. It's easier said than done, and I can help with a reading if you want, holler. But we are here to be bold, to boldly go where no man has gone before, right? And that's going to require some releasing of disillusionment and failure, some releasing of expectations while still having them, right? A good work project isn't just brainstorming. You have to get the pen to paper, but at the same time, you want to be creative and open to many opportunities and options, and not just so stuck that you're, immovable, the shadow of Sun and Moon Taurus. So we want to be fluid and bold. We want to be letting go of the trauma. We want to be putting our effort forward, 2 steps, in this direction, 1 step in front of the other, 1 step in front of the other, just like that. Letting go of the past, not letting it build up around us, and banishing our blahs by keeping a perspective that it's all good, we're here on a journey, and that we're always returning to the present moment of home. So hopefully that's made sense. Hopefully you enjoy your Sunday, this first day of May. Leave a tip if you've liked this. Holler for personal readings if you want. $33 for an hour of cards. And $88 for 3 hours of astrology, and $111 for both. Check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. It's really fun. Almost 300 episodes. Great stuffs. Check it out if you haven't. I don't know why you haven't. If you haven't, tisk tisk. And yeah, just step into the power of who you are and be willing to do the work. It's one thing to be a fierce, sassy chica. It's another thing to be like, I'm gonna design my clothes and put them on the runway and make some money, right? So take your inspiration and make it transform your life. And don't be the victim anymore. Shed that victimization stuff. Make your life your great work, right? Banish your blahs by staying busy, and not in a neat, like a meaningless way, but because in a sense, the meaninglessness of disillusion is like, oh my gosh, everything I used to do hasn't come to anything. It's like you are where you are in the place where your karma and all the events of your life has led you. This present moment. This is like your birth, and oh my gosh, day 2, and you're here. So just step into the power of being here. Know that you're a transformative being to do the work, the great work, letting go of the past and transforming it to alter timelines of the future, quote unquote, banishing your blahs by getting into what? Your heart, and ultimately your crown chakra, which is love for yourself and other and everybody all at once. So, holler for readings, check out the podcast, enjoy your Sunday, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Adios. Bye.